Welcome to Movie Reel. I'm Samantha Tomlinson.
And I'm Kevin Tracy, and joining us this week is another special guest, our good friend, Mr. Aaron Silva. Why don't you give us an introduction there, buddy?
Hey guys, I'm Aaron Silva. I'm just happy to be here.
Yay, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Exactly. Long time listener, first time host joiner.
Yes, very eloquently put.
We should say that, not guest
Yes,
host,
host joiner.
host joiner.
Official title. You will be credited as such.
Sounds like the class in an MMO.
Yes, I am host joiner. All right. What have you been up to, Aaron, since this whole thing kind of snuck up on us?
I have been sitting on my ass playing video games, and now I'm working because they finally got the working stuff set up. But
Nice.
mostly that sitting on ass playing video games bit.
What do you do?
What do you
what?
do?
You said now you're working.
Oh, what do I work in a call center. No big deal.
Oh, okay.
I just listen to people yell at me because their refrigerator isn't working.
Like a therapist, or you're trying to make it better. And how do you feel about that?
Now, how does that make you feel?
I mean, oh God, I could never be a therapist, but I might need one after watching Space Jam.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did.
Perfect segue into what we're watching today.
Yeah, exactly. I shouldn't get ahead of myself here, but that kind of makes my opinion clear. But like, I loved this movie when I was a kid. I loved this movie.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't been paying attention, this week's episode is going to be on the 1996 classic Space Jam,
Cult
starring
classic.
Bugs Bunny. Yeah, cult classic. Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan starring in this nostalgic hit from the 90s.
This movie, yeah,
What
I
is a
was
hit from the '90s that's not nostalgic? That's like
Oh,
That is a good
Goodfellas.
question.
Goodfellas. Is that
That
that's not really
that's
nostalgic?
just a that's just a good movie.
I know I was saying a hit movie, but not nostalgic.
I thought that was. Yeah, I mean, I still
I
feel like
mean,
that was still a hit.
six.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I meant.
just because it.
Oh,
Yeah,
not a hit. You said not a hit. I thought you said not just not one that's nostalgic. I feel like that movie's not really a nostalgic movie. It's just a hit movie from the '90s.
yeah. I
I
don't know. It just seems like every time like Thanksgiving rolls around, like my grandpa is just constantly like binge watching like all the Godfather movies and like Goodfellas and like
whoa.
all those like Italian mafia movies. Like this is apparently what Thanksgiving's about, according to my grandpa.
The best interpretation of Thanksgiving I've ever heard was at it was obviously Thanksgiving, it was at Thanksgiving, and my aunt and uncle sometimes like host like foreign exchange students, and they brought one with them. She was from Brazil, and she asked like, why do we celebrate Thanksgiving? And my grandma, I don't know if she was kidding or not, but she said, well, the pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock, and they're so glad that the Indians didn't kill them, so they had dinner. And I'm like, I don't think that's
I
quite
mean,
right.
that's. I mean, that's not wrong.
All of those events,
it.
all those events, I
It
mean,
omits
Native
several
Americans,
factors,
all of
but all
all of
those
those
events
things
are
are
true.
yeah, the events are true. I just think the meaning behind them isn't quite as accurate, but you know, like, sure.
It's like I feel like you're missing a few details in there, but the core synopsis is there.
Yeah, exactly.
Still more
Speaking of the core
educational
synopsis,
than. Oh, so go ahead, Kevin.
yeah. Speaking of the core synopsis, the main plot of this movie is in a desperate attempt to win a basketball match and earn their freedom, the Looney Tunes seek the aid of retired basketball champion Michael Jordan, who has since retired from basketball and has become a professional baseball player.
Can we?
Which you were saying, Sam, you were saying that you didn't actually realize that that was a thing that Michael Jordan did in his career, that he retired from basketball.
I don't. Here's the thing about I know enough about sports, like team names or where they're from. I don't really know athletes that well, other than obvious athletes. Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew he played basketball. I didn't. I was unaware.
Kind of hard to not.
I was unaware.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, he was a basketball player. That's what I got out of this movie. No,
Yeah.
I didn't know he played baseball, and I honestly had to look that up. And then I realized this takes place in 1996. The beginning part of the movie is really just like
unnecessary.
It's almost like just a documentary of what's going on, and then the Looney Tunes.
It so is. The beginning of this movie is just like
his life.
Michael, can we come into your house and record your family for like 20 minutes?
Yeah, because they record with like his family,
they hired
his family, and then like it's
well, no,
it's weird.
I mean, it's actors. It's an actress is playing actors and actresses are playing his wife and kids, but they have the same names, and like. They're just playing his real life family, which
I feel like that would be really uncomfortable for me if I was Michael Jordan. Like, this person isn't your wife, but they're pretending to be your wife. Like,
I mean, she doesn't have that much screen time. Yeah, the like first season or so of like I think it was like Everybody Loves Raymond, for example. Two of the kids play. Their names used were Ray Romano's actual kids, but it was too weird that they changed them. And I'm like, yeah, that does sound weird.
Oh yeah, speaking of Everybody Loves Raymond, I forgot that.
Oh yeah,
what's his? Yeah. She shows up in this, and it was just like there were
with Dan Castellaneta. So
there were so many just random actors and athletes and celebrities in this movie that I kind of just became overloaded with like information. It's like, why are all these people like? There are so many like random cameos and celebrity appearances in this movie that it just almost gave me a headache. It's like, God damn it, I don't even know who half these people are anymore.
Like, I feel like
especially the athletes.
Everybody wanted to be a part of this movie for some reason, which is hilarious given the quality of the script and like that the tagline that you read. Like, who looks at that and says, "Yeah, I want to be a part of this"?
Yeah, it's like Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny, sign me up.
Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny, aliens. Yep. I'm in.
Oh, sign me up.
Yeah. The two things I want in a movie: Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes.
Well, a lot of things that people kind of overlook about this movie is that even before this movie was even made or released or anything about this was kind of like in the pipe works.
There were commercials.
There was a lot of. Yeah, there was a lot of like cross marketing with like Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan.
There were commercials. There were commercials of Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny, and that's kind of what led to the film. Like, I think they were successful commercials, and so they made a movie.
Yeah. It was an insanely like successful like campaign of just like Air Jordan, like Air Jordans. I think Burger King was in on it.
Probably.
Like a bunch of like so many different like companies and different marketing teams use the same thing of using Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan, and it just sold like hotcakes. Like, let's capitalize on it and make it a movie. And
so is Anchorman 3 gonna be? Is it gonna be Ron Burgundy with his new Dodge Durango? Is that what we're looking at in the future?
Sure, why not?
And I mean, you can't really fault them for it. It worked, right? Like, I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure this movie did well, right?
Yeah, the overall budget estimated was $80 million, which kind of blew my mind that they spent that much money just in terms of budget. Opening weekend, they made $27 million with a total gross in the U.S. of $90 million with a worldwide gross of $230 million. So I would say this is very successful.
Yeah, they definitely made their money back on that one. That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh sweet Lord. I mean, on IMDb, it says in 2021, it's in post-production. It's Space Jam 2 with LeBron James.
With LeBron?
I heard about that in the pipeworks for so long. I thought that was still just like in the rumor mill stage. Oh, jeez. Okay, that's going to be...
Now I have to see it.
just because Don Cheadle's
I really love Don Cheadle.
That's what got you sold?
Yeah, that's the criteria. Bugs Bunny and Don Cheadle, sign me up.
But this movie, I was really like, what was the pitch for? I mean, I get now that the commercials were successful that they just came up with a movie, so it wasn't like somebody's like, hey, I got this great idea. Like,
Well, I mean, it's not like unheard of for like marketing teams to just like build entire like movies or shows based off of like commercials or like a 2 minute skit. Like they made admittedly a like unsuccessful series on the do you guys remember the Geico caveman commercials?
Yeah.
Like so easy a caveman could do it. Well, they decided to make a caveman series based off of like the Geico cavemen,
I think I
and
remember
I
seeing
think it lasted
commercials for
all of
that.
yeah, I think it lasted all of
5 seconds.
a few episodes.
Oh,
Yeah, like 2 episodes before it got scrapped because no one watched it.
Wow.
Because I think it was supposed to be like it was originally supposed to be contracted for like a full season, so like I don't know, like 7 or 12 episodes or something like that, and the numbers for their like initial premiere were like so low beyond like their like estimated budget that they ended up having to pull the plug and scrap the whole thing.
oh my god. Uh, um,
So easy,
Wow.
a caveman could do it.
yeah, Space Jam. I will say, this is a movie. I again, don't judge me. If I've seen it, it was so long ago, I don't remember anything about it. Like
Okay.
certain
Yeah,
bits do look familiar. Like I have seen pictures, and I know, like I knew what it was. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know if I've seen it or not. Like I might have, but it was so long ago. I have no recollection of it.
yeah. I watched this for like the first time like yesterday in like I want to say like 5 or 6 years. Like I probably haven't seen this since high school. Um, and it was just really weird watching it now after like kind of learning like everything I did about movies. It's
It's
just
a
like
weird movie.
this
Yeah.
makes not a lot of sense. Like why did I like this so much as a kid?
Well, that was
Like
my
I
thing. I watched
yeah,
this
like
when I was a kid, and many times when I was a kid, and I loved this
yeah,
movie. I loved it so
yeah,
much, and I haven't seen it in like 10 years. And I
yeah.
went back
I
and watched it, and I
specifically
was like,
remember.
"This movie is not not good. It's not how I
Yeah,
remember it."
I remember watching this a lot as a kid too, and I specifically remember having a Space Jam themed birthday party
Oh
with
Lord.
include. And
Oh my
I even
God.
recently
Are there
found
pictures?
I don't know, probably, but I remember finding like a few years ago where we like have like all of like our like spare like birthday napkins and like paper plates and stuff like that. We found like at the bottom of that Space Jam themed napkins. It's like, oh my god, we still have these like 15 years after the movie came out.
Kevin, you should see if you can sell those. I bet they're collector items now.
They might be. I don't know if we still have them anymore because there was only like two left, and we didn't. I don't know who
Just
used
frame
them, but
it.
I don't know. I, I I don't know if we still have those. I hope we do, but I don't think we do anymore.
I
Jeez.
think, yeah, I was wondering, there had to, like, the Toon Squad jersey, like I mean, the merchandise for this movie had to have been interesting. Was it just Bugs Bunny wearing a
Yeah,
Toon Squad outfit, a
Well, I
jersey
bet there was
uniform?
a ton of merchandising stuff that made money off of this movie as well. Um,
yeah. Well, I know they made like a bunch of like video games and other marketing
Yeah,
stuff like that, like comics and video games. I'm like literally looking this
Moron
up. They had
Mountain looked like a
yeah.
video game. Just like the intro for it. It
Oh
looked like a
yeah,
video game. I felt like okay, so right in the very beginning of the movie, we're getting it's a long, the credits are really long.
oh, the intro credits are so long. I felt like the guy who did it. I felt like the guy who did it was contractually obligated to have the entirety of Space Jam at the beginning of the movie. Otherwise, it wasn't justified in being named Space Jam.
Well, before that, we have young Michael Jordan playing basketball, and he says like, "I'm gonna." Do you think he's like 8 years old, and he's like, "Do you think I'm good enough to get into college?"
yeah,
I'm like, "Wow, you're really
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
ahead." Like, not am I good enough to make the team, or do you think I'm good enough to play in the NBA? Just am I good enough to get into college? I'm like, you are 8. Like, wow.
Yeah, it's this is Michael Jordan in like 1973. So yeah, he's very little. He's playing basketball in at midnight. It's like, hey dad, you think I'll make the team one day? And it's like every time his dad like makes a shot, it's like, oh, like keep going until you miss. And it's like, oh man, like one of these days I'm gonna join the NBA. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna be a millionaire, and then I'm gonna quit and do baseball. It's like, all right. You're just mapping out your
yeah,
whole life.
he's just saying all the things that Michael Jordan will eventually go on to do. And then we get this
I
long
guess so.
credits of, like everybody. I'm like, this would have been more appropriate for the end. I mean, the transition, sure, but like it went on for so long, and it was just like footage of Michael Jordan slam dunks.
Yeah, it would have worked fine as like a transition if it was half as long as it ended up being. And I think the reason it's so long is partially because we need to justify that Space Jam is in this movie, but also because they have so many, like as we talked about earlier, so
voice
many
actors.
just cameo actors whose names we want to throw on the screen to let you know that we got Charles Barkley for this movie. Does he do anything? No, but he's in the movie.
We also got Larry Johnson,
Larry
we got
Bird,
Sean Bradley, we got
Larry
Patrick
Bird
Ewing.
is in there.
Yeah.
And actually is decent. Like the lines he has are very believable for Larry Bird to say.
Yeah.
I'm
kind of jumping ahead, but I do love the scene where like all the basketball players who have lost their talent, air quotes, are they're like all going through like all these treatments and like therapy, and it's just like, so do you feel like you are underperforming in other aspects other than basketball? It's like, no, it's like heavily implying it's like, so you got erectile dysfunction. It's like the amount of adult jokes in this movie, I was not prepared for that.
The whole segment with the like athletes who have lost their talent was like the B plot, right? That's the whole B plot.
Yeah.
But it's just
that was the B story, and it was actually really funny.
It was funny. It just could have been a lot better. I feel like it could have been. To me, I thought it was good. I thought that they were all going to come together, and I thought there was going to be like a moral of like Michael Jordan be like, no, you guys still got it in you, and I thought they were going to help him in the end. That's where I thought it was going.
It's like,
but no,
it's like no, you guys all suck. Here's your talent back. It's like, oh, thanks, man.
But
yeah. And I don't know. I like the comedy in that part isn't awful. I don't think it's great. But it's not terrible. I just think that the guys they have delivering it also aren't comedians, right? They're not actors. They're basketball players.
They're athletes. So
I don't think the delivery is there at all. I don't know. I personally was not a big fan of that B plot, except for the bit where Charles Barkley gets wrecked by like a 12-year-old. That bit was funny.
Yeah. Charles Barkley in general
that was really fun.
is hilarious. So yeah, he should have had more funny lines. Like he's hysterical. I recommended to everybody. The Tonight Show, it was Charles Barkley, Jimmy Fallon, Ewan McGregor, and another person playing charades. And
oh my God.
It's so funny. It is so Charles Barkley. I was the first time I saw it ever. I was crying. I was laughing so hard because Jimmy's doing a really bad job, and Charles Barkley's like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, he's hilarious. He didn't have that many funny lines. So.
Yeah. I do remember seeing like Charles Barkley on like SNL and thinking that he was really funny.
Yeah.
He did a really good job hosting, and a lot of the stuff that he was in was like really funny because they were doing a lot of stuff making fun of like his like golf swing when he was golfing.
See, I thought he was just a golfer for the longest time. I didn't know he was a basketball player. Not until this movie.
God,
not until this movie. Until maybe like this year, but not until this movie. Like because he played. I think I saw pictures, or I knew he played golf, so I thought that's just all he did. Then I realized, oh no, he was a basketball player. See, I know. I don't know athletes. I know teams. I don't really know athletes, and that's the extent of my knowledge. But yes,
fair enough, I guess.
But that intro was just so long. It was just It was just filled with like, hey, let's just show every single person that's ever going to be in this movie.
Well, and this is a kids movie, and we're gonna throw in all these celebrities with all these jokes that the kids are not going to get when, like Looney Tunes. Okay, if you look at like old Looney Tunes, like the actual old Looney Tunes, those were good for kids, but they also had a lot of humor for adults. But the way it was written was so smart that it was worked in to be really funny to the adults and like not detracting from the sections that are good for kids, right? But in this movie, you just have these huge segments of the athletes just sort of doing their thing. The kids aren't going to find that funny at all. They're not going to know what's happening.
No.
Yeah, especially like a lot of like them getting like psychoanalyzed by like the very stereotypical like German therapist.
Freud.
The very Freudian therapist. He literally looks like Sigmund Freud. It's just like does. He really does. It's not even funny. It's just
They
that's
found a
what he looks
picture, and
like.
the makeup department just said, "All right, let's do it."
We need you to make him look like this. And of course, one of the athletes just like, but I love my mom. It's like, I never said you didn't. It's like, it's like, I never mentioned your mother. You brought your mother up. It's like, but I love my mama.
Yeah,
when we're talking about possible edible complexes with actual athletes, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
like,
here for this scene anymore.
It's like that. It took such a turn. I don't think that's what they meant for it to be, Blake, but that's what I was picking up.
But it's there now. Now
Yeah.
you have to deal with it.
Good luck with that, people.
So the movie starts after a very long credits intro, and so it's like so then it goes up into space, and for 5 seconds I'm like, wait, because I was thinking I was just expecting Looney Tunes, so I was like, why is it in space? And then I laughed. I felt like a fucking idiot.
Oh, right. Space Jam. It all makes sense now.
I saw the sign for Moron Mountain, and then that made me laugh harder because I was just being a moron. And I had to actually pause the TV. I was like so distraught with myself. And then I continued on. And yeah, so the design for Moron Mountain, it's an amusement park in space. And that's the thing. Is it just an amusement park? It's not a planet. It's just an amusement park that's just floating around space. And then,
but the sign is like
the
sign is like pointing to the whole planet. So I think the whole planet is an amusement park, or at least an asteroid, right? It's some large celestial body.
Yeah.
I think I think just like the whole place is just like the planet. Like the whole planet is the amusement park, even though the amusement park is like all of like
3 rides.
One side of it, yeah.
And so it's this, there are these terrifying looking rides that look so dangerous, and this kid and his dad get thrown off one, and the kid's like, this sucks, Dad. Don't take me back here. It's not fun. And then it just shows the, owner who's super fat, and it's Danny DeVito is the voice of this guy.
Danny DeVito is the voice actor for Mr. Swackhammer. I'm like trying to read his name.
That's his name?
Yeah, it's Swackhammer. Mr. Swackhammer.
Did they say his name once in the movie?
I don't know if they did.
Probably not.
I don't think they did. Like, the naming...
If they did, it was very quiet, or like it was when everyone was talking at once, like, sorry boss, Mr. Swackhammer, like all of like the monsters were talking at once.
It maybe came like once or twice. It wasn't like drilled in on who this guy was, but he keeps complaining to his like employees, who are these little tiny, like, think of like in The Little Mermaid, the little, like, the result of what happens, like the little things that are creatures that are in Ursula's cave. So if you can't pay up, she turns you into... It's like that, except colorful, and they can walk. Like, it was a very... Yes. I don't know. And he's like, we need new attractions, and we need something to be... whatever. And then they see a Looney Tunes cartoon, and they're like, Looney? And he's like, yeah, go get the Looney Tunes. And it's like, okay.
It's like but what if they don't come? It's like, make them.
Okay.
It's like, all right.
I kind of want to talk about this scene for a bit, because, like, first off, am I the only one who feels like Moron Mountain is just an extremely phoned-in name?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
Why? So everyone that goes is a moron? Like, what?
I feel like there's a smart name that could have been written for that, but that they just literally thought of the first thing that, like, sounded attraction park themey and also bad, and just named it that. Like, I don't know. I feel like the writing in a lot of points in this movie is like
very phoned in.
Not bad, just lazy. That'll do.
It was very by the numbers.
Exactly.
The little minions. I love his little minions. I think their design, like their visual design, is like good enough that you can tell who's who pretty distinctly, even in their little forms.
Yeah, they have like a very unique color palette that kind of like balances like their own personalities.
Yeah,
and also their colors kind of like match their personality. Like the short, like they're all short. The orange kind of round one has like a very like flared up temper, so he's got like a very bright color palette. There's the very chill one, so he's got like a very blue, very light tone, and he's very basically acts like a stoner.
Yeah.
He really
There's
is.
one that's always it's like they all kind of like have like a color palette that matches like their own personality, and it makes them all unique and very recognizable.
Yeah.
Yes. But their dialogue, for most of them, is just like a lot of what they do is just repeat whatever the first person said in most scenes. It feels like in a lot of scenes they're just saying like what the plot is telling them to say. A lot of the dialogue isn't character driven. It's just like this is the thing that they need to say in the scene to move the plot forward, you know?
That's a good point.
Pretty much.
That's a good point.
That's how I felt for most of it anyway. But anyway, yeah, we clearly establish our main villain as this cigar-toting money
Yeah.
mogul.
And
Capitalist.
he was wearing
capitalist.
sandals, which I thought was weird.
That
Was
was
he?
what you. Yeah, he's wearing like basically like flip flops the entire time.
It's because there's a scene where
The real enemy, Crocs.
the creatures, the creatures are like, when he's like yelling at them, they're like saying we need new attractions. They're like filing his nails, and it just there's a shot to his feet, and I'm like, he's wearing sandals. Why? Was it just so he could get his toes filed? It doesn't make sense. There's no reason for him to wear sandals.
I know, he's wearing like a two-piece suit, like a very like fancy looking
Suit,
like business suit, like dress pants, the whole thing, sandals.
Yeah. I mean, he's a casual business guy.
Exactly.
It's casual Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, every day is Friday in space.
So yeah.
But yeah, no, the whole Moron Mountain thing, I felt like they very much missed an opportunity to do like a Six Flags joke, because like Warner Brothers basically like owns Six Flags. Like they're I don't know if they own them, but like they basically like have like cross marketing all the time. Like there's Looney Tunes themed everything in Six Flags. So it's like that is such a missed opportunity just to have like a made up Six Flags like theme
Space
park.
Flags or something.
Yeah, it's like the seventh flag or something like
I'm
that.
Just picturing
no flags.
No flags. Yeah.
The stolen flags.
I'm just picturing
I don't know.
like the writer's room, and like it's just filled with like crumpled up paper. Because it's the 90s. There's no reusing paper. They're just failing an idea, scratching off, rolling it into a ball, and then someone like comes in asking for messes up their coffee order, and they're like, you put low fat milk in mine, you moron.
And they're like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the name. Moving on.
I just picture like they just have like. No, it's like they just.
Johnson,
it's
you
like
got an idea for a sexy bunny in this movie? I want to hear about that.
Oh my god! It's like, all right, which one of you guys worked on Who Framed Roger Rabbit? All right, who made Jessica Rabbit? It's like right here. It's like, do that again.
No, Jessica Rabbit's a human, which makes the relationship all more disturbing.
Exactly.
I'd prefer the human than the fucking sexy bunny shit. Do you know how many furries you created based on this movie? This is Warner Brothers' fault. I blame them for the Sonic shit.
We'll get to that later. Don't open up the floodgates yet. We'll get to that later.
Okay. I'll pull
oh
it
my
back.
god!
I'll leave it in for now.
About that.
Oh my god, half this episode is just gonna be us laughing. Okay. So Danny DeVito told like his minions like, all right, go get the Looney Tunes. So it then jumps back to Earth, and Michael Jordan's in the middle of a baseball game, and spoiler alert, he's a horrible baseball player, and the other players are like trying to be like super nice to him because he's Michael Jordan. He's like the basketball player that everybody knows. So he's getting like he gave like autographs to like the pitcher for like the other team, and he's like telling him, it's like, all right, don't swing, this is gonna be a curveball, don't swing it.
The catcher.
The catcher.
Can I just say that it's just this scene, the scene with him and the catcher, where the catcher's telling him, don't swing, it's a curveball. This is my favorite scene in the entire movie.
I'm like, what?
That was really funny.
Like,
I think it's really funny. I think it's like really good humor. I think Michael is great in it because he's just like reacting to this guy who's like in the majors telling him, don't swing. I want Michael Jordan to get a hit.
Are they in the majors? Because that looked
It
like
was
a very
minors.
minor
It
league
was a
stadium.
minor.
I think he was in AAA. I don't think he actually made it to the.
It was
to the
minors,
majors.
a minor team. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it was a minor team. I looked it up.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
What was his team name? Like the Barons or something?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I'm.
I know, like in real life, I don't think Michael Jordan ever made it to the majors, but he played like he wasn't terrible in AA or AAA, whatever league he ended up in. He wasn't terrible. People often say like, "Oh, he was so bad." He wasn't, and of course, the movie it works for the movie to say, "Oh, he's so bad." He's not actually bad. He just like. I mean, he's not a baseball player. He didn't play baseball for 30 years. So
he only played for one season. It was from minor league team. I think it was the right name of his team. I think it was all everything about it was like accurate. It was it wasn't so like the White Sox. It was the minor league, not the White Sox, but like the minor league adjacent to the
team for the White Sox.
Like like there's San Francisco Giants and there's the San Jose Giants. It was just kind of, it was like,
Gotcha.
But, so he's just kind of getting annoyed that everybody's, and I would be annoyed by that. I would just be really uncomfortable if they're telling me, like, isn't that cheating? Isn't that dishonest? Like,
yeah, and also like everyone like is like he strikes out, and like everyone on his team, including his coach, is like, all right, good job, Michael, good hustle. It's like, hey man, when you strike out, you make it look good. Like when I strike out, I make it look bad. It's like you're real talent to this team. It's like, dude, you guys are losing now because of this. And this is also,
I thought this was going to be a bigger deal. Everybody's just treating him so nice, and that's the problem. And he says to his son later, like nobody gets mad when he messes up. It's like, no, you gotta push him, and that's what he's realizing. That's the bigger issue that he's dealing with career wise, and that never really comes back. Like jumping ahead again, at the end of the game, at the end of the movie for his next game, he shows up in a spaceship, and everyone's just like, oh, Michael Jordan, like, are you?
Yeah, we're just gonna ignore
also,
that.
No, by the way, like in the middle of this game, like the same spaceship, like all the aliens are going to go to like kidnap the Looney Tunes, drives by that. Everyone looks at it, is like, huh, that was weird. Back to the game. No one bats an eye that they just saw a UFO fly over them.
This is what bothered me the most in this movie. Everybody just accepts everything. There's like no Michael, like they spaceship, that's weird, or Michael Jordan being sucked down a hole on a golf course, and they're all like, oh, that's weird. Come on out, Michael.
This is
and I'm
probably
like,
fine.
What?
Moving on.
It's like, he'll be fine. Let's not call the cops saying like he's missing, even though he technically is missing.
But then his assistant, played by Wayne Wright.
Would it have been so hard to have gotten him just like pulled through the TV into Looney Tune land? Like,
that's what.
Why did they have to create a specific place on the Earth for Looney Tunes to live?
That's what I didn't understand.
And have to say Looney Tunes are real now?
Yeah, so apparently the Looney Tunes live in the center of the Earth, and Warner Brothers, a real company, still owns the rights to them.
That's what didn't make sense to me. I'm like, it's kind of like, because there's a scene later when Michael Jordan's kids, are watching Looney Tunes, and then they're all like, oh, where'd they go? Like, they can't do these. I'm like, oh, it's kind of like Wreck-It Ralph a little bit. Like, they're not on screen, they're not there. But then I'm like, so there's no producer that's just dictating like the story. Yeah. It's just them doing. It's just like a documentary of their life. Everyone's watching a reality series. Like,
also that means that every episode that someone's watching of Looney Tunes is happening live. So that means that every rerun isn't a rerun. It's just them doing the exact same thing again.
Yeah.
That is insane to me. That's like, wow,
Would
no
you say
wonder these guys are crazy.
It's loony to you,
I was
Kevin?
getting to that, you son of a bitch. You beat me to
being
it.
Sucked into the TV would have made more sense. It just didn't make sense to me that he was sucked down a golf hole. People are watching this, and they just like, huh, that's weird. And then he's sucked into.
Yeah, he's playing golf with like.
We've skipped over an important. He's not
Bill Murray.
Important, but an important character.
Bill Murray. He's golfing with Bill Murray, and it's like.
And Wayne Knight,
takes a picture.
Assistant. His
like
publicist.
Yeah. Yes, the publicist.
Yeah.
The publicist character, was he supposed to be a funny character?
I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like he was intended to be a funny character in that, like, one of those, like, oh, he's annoying, but it's funny that he's annoying.
So it's
never works.
Yeah.
I don't know why people do that.
It's Wayne Knight, who was Newman on Seinfeld. He was Dennis Nedry in Jurassic Park.
Let's be honest, he was just Newman.
He was just Newman on Island Nebular. But he, like, in this movie, he's just I thought there was a point later in the movie, I thought he was going to join forces with the aliens, and he didn't, which is...
They make it seem like it's like, hey, do you guys need a publicist? Like, oh, so he's gonna, like, represent these guys now? It's like, that'll be kind of
They're
funny.
winning. He's just gonna abandon ship. I thought that's what was gonna happen, and then no, that's not what happens.
Yeah, no, he's like the biggest, like, Michael Jordan fanboy that knows nothing about Michael Jordan other than the fact that he is famous. Like, that's basically what I kind of figured up what his character was like, because he's just, like, following him around. He's like, hey, you need anything? You need me to drive you? I'll babysit your kids. I'm great with kids. You ask anybody, and I'm the best with kids. It's just he's constantly rambling and trying to, like, be best friends with Michael Jordan, even though he's coming across as the neediest person I've ever seen.
And I feel like on set they were like, Michael, so he's gonna do his thing. I just want you to react how you would in normal life if somebody came up to you and started doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
so yeah.
Like, I'm so confused. I feel like they put him in the movie because they were like, oh, like, Michael Jordan, he's not an actor. Usually when people aren't actors, they don't bring a lot of personality or character to the screen, right? So we're going to get somebody who has, like, an abundance of character and put him with Jordan, which isn't, like, necessarily a bad idea.
In theory, that would work.
The character itself does nothing.
Yeah.
He isn't funny, and he does nothing in regards to the plot or character or anything. So why is he there? Right?
The only thing that he does to drive the plot forward is tell Michael Jordan and the rest, like the Looney Tunes, that the aliens stole the talent from the NBA players. That's his only contribution to the entire movie.
Which could have been done by any character.
It really could have, yeah.
It could have been like Tweety Bird gets, like, overhears or something. Yeah, there was really no reason for him. But, like, yeah, he's just
the other thing he does is later in the movie when he gets jumped on and they have to do, like, the medic scene where they
inflate him with a bike tire.
Yeah, and that leads to the whole, like, climax bit where Jordan realizes that you can be a toon in the toon world even if you're a regular person.
Yeah.
I also like that he even, like, acknowledges, like, really 10 seconds in the game and you tell me this now? I could have been doing, like, so many cool things this entire game and won already. And it's like,
okay,
and I was thinking, like, the same
like,
thing too. It's like, really? They just tell him this now? This makes no sense. And then he said it right as I was thinking it. It's like, oh, that's funny.
Okay, but plot issue, due to events that we'll get into later, because I'm going to go off once we get to it. He should know that that's already possible.
Yeah, that's true, because
he should already know that because of events earlier in the movie. So I was just like, why is this a thing?
I think because he didn't do it to himself.
Anyway, getting back to the whole like
so
Bill Murray, the one scene he was in before the climax, he was actually pretty funny in the golf ball.
Oh yeah,
okay,
like him saying like
First of all, he's wearing an umbrella hat. They're all playing. Michael Jordan, Bill Murray, with the publicist and
Larry Bird.
No, not Larry Bird.
Larry Bird's there
too. That wasn't
too.
Larry Bird. That was.
That's not Larry Bird?
No, Larry Bird is the white, tall basketball player that you see, like, in the movie.
Okay,
another
I thought that
another
was
person. I don't really. I'm trying to find his name. Another person, but anyway, Bill Murray's asking, like, Michael Jordan, like, oh, you think I could play in the NBA? What? And Michael Jordan's like, no, you can't. And I'm like, what? I mean, he probably can't, but also, like, I just thought it was weird because he's not, like, laughing, like, no, you can't. Like, he's like, being dead serious. No, you can't. I'm like, God, what's,
like,
don't disrespect Michael's NBA.
Like, Bill Murray's, like, asking in a way, is like, oh, like, he's clearly asking as a joke, but, like, he's answering it as this is, like, a very serious question. It's like, no, man, like, you can't, like, this is a man's game, and it's like, you can't jump, you can't dunk, you can't do any of this, so it's like, don't even think about it. It's like, all right, way to shit on his dreams.
So,
I don't know. I still found that scene pretty funny.
It was funny, but
I might be in the minority.
I thought it was awkward
funny,
because Michael Jordan was unnecessarily being like, no, you can't. You can't
Yeah.
play in the NBA.
But yeah, before this scene, we see the aliens like basically like fly their ship through the earth. They basically like dig their way to Looney Tunes land, and basically it's like, all right, we're gonna enslave you guys now, because they run into like Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd and shoot Elmer Fudd with like their ray guns. Like, okay, these guys aren't messing around. All right, these guys they want to take us prisoner. It's like, let's not do that. I don't want to be a prisoner.
So they later have a
trick.
town hall meeting
Yeah.
where
Are we gonna mention that most of the Looney Tunes are not the actual Looney Tune voice actors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's not super obvious for most of them, but for like the rooster, God, Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah, Foghorn Leghorn.
For him and for Bugs Bunny, I think it's really like glaring for both those characters that is not the original voice.
It's not that bad. Bugs Bunny's voice isn't that bad. Like I thought it still sounded like Bugs Bunny. But I mean, I'm not as familiar with.
Yeah, the main voice actors who do the voice cast for this movie is Billy West, who is Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, and D. Bradley Baker, who is Daffy Duck, Taz, and Tor the Bull. And then there's a few others that kind of do single voice acting as well as multiple voice acting. But Billy West, if most of you guys probably know him as Fry from Futurama.
I think he's also the fish. Okay. He's Klaus, I think, on American Dad. At least I know he's on American Dad. He might be somebody else, but anybody. Anyway.
And D. Bradley Baker is my favorite.
That's
the Clone
Klaus.
Troopers.
Sorry, that's Klaus. I mixed up. That's Klaus.
Yeah.
D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah.
Anyway.
D. Bradley Baker. He's I mainly know him as the Clone Troopers from Star Wars Clone Wars.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he is every single clone.
Oh.
That's funny.
Okay.
So there are literally episodes where it's just him talking to himself in 5 slightly different voices.
But this guy works with Seth MacFarlane, so that's not that unfamiliar to him of a job.
Seriously.
But I feel like the writing for the voices for the Looney Tunes might not have been that noticeable if their writing had been smarter. But the writing for the Looney Tunes in this, sometimes it's good. There's some points where the original characters really shine through. But for the most part, I feel like the way that they talk is like, it's just way below the bar for what the like smartness of the writing that you see in actual Looney Tune comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
with the exception of course, the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, but it's hard to really mess them up.
They're very one-stroke characters, Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, but I feel like they kind of nailed Daffy Duck at least. Like, he's a very selfish, arrogant character, and pretty much he only acts in his own self-interest, and that's.
I would agree with you. He's not bad.
Like that's. And they pretty much nail him to a T in this movie. He pretty much goes out of his way to care about himself and only himself, and helps others only when it is convenient for him, and ultimately gets beat up or injured in some way because karma.
Yeah. So they have a town hall meeting where all the Looney Tunes show up. And Daffy Duck shows up, like just getting out of a shower. And Bugs Bunny's on stage with the aliens, wrapped up in like chains, locks and chains.
And he immediately takes it off.
and the aliens are like, "We're going to enslave you!" And they're all so small and like have cute voices that everybody just laughs at them. And Bugs Bunny just takes off the chains and then says, "No, you can't just enslave us. You can't just take us." And he grabs it's a how to draw cartoons book, but he crosses out draw and writes capture, and then he says, "We have to defend ourselves." And then he opens the book to a sticky note that says they have to defend themselves, and the aliens are like, it's in the book.
It's like, it's in the rule book. We're clearly law-abiding citizens here who follow every rule when it comes to slavery.
To be fair, that's one of the few points where like the cartoon logic like works.
Yeah.
Right?
It was.
I just have a hard time believing these guys are a big threat to the Looney Tunes just in general, given like I feel like Bugs Bunny himself should just be able to handle these guys, given the stuff he's taking care of.
It's like I'm pretty certain that there are several like episodes of like Bugs Bunny and Marvin the Martian where this exact same scenario happened and they dealt with it in like 2 minutes. Where like Marvin the Martian's like, Earthling, I'm going to enslave you and take you to Mars. Like, no. It's like, darn it. It's like, all right, episode's over. It's like you're not gonna challenge me to basketball. It's like, no, why would I do that?
Yeah, so the
Darn
Looney
it.
Tunes.
But we have to have Michael Jordan in the movie, so
yeah, the
basketball
Looney
it is.
Tunes decide to say they're gonna play a game of basketball with the aliens because the aliens are really small. So the aliens don't know anything about basketball. So they sneak into an NBA game and they're and in a coat and hat with a scarf, like, because that's how people dress at sporting events.
Yeah, just literally just like a
In a-
full trench coat
in a room
covering their
filled with-
entire face with the
In a hot
fedora
room.
on.
In a hot room filled with people, like, that can't be comfortable. So they're next to Patricia Heaton and
Wait.
Dan Castellano, and she's like, I thought we were gonna get better seats. This weirdo is doing something in his jacket, and it's like, okay. So the aliens, like, I don't know, like, evaporate, sneak out, and basically capture the talent of these various players. But what bothered me, so the first one they go after is Charles Barkley because they're overhearing them saying, oh, he's a killer out there. So they think he's like an actual killer, I guess. So they go out and take his talent, and immediately he like kind of like, he's like his arms are kind of flailing a little bit, but immediately they're all like, what's wrong with you? And bench him. Whereas the next guy that they take the talent from, they're all like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah. And then we watch him fail a little bit, and then they bench him. I'm like, that made more sense. Why would they just, the second Charles Barkley he's just like, for a split second, they're all like, get off the court. And I was like, what the?
Because Charles Barkley should know better. He's the best,
like,
and he should only be the best.
Yeah.
Well, and this scene is like one of the most jarring. They don't do a too bad of a job with working the tunes into like real life situations. Like the way that they like divide it, it's not too jarring most of the time seeing real people with like the cartoon characters.
It definitely had like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of vibe to it when they did like live action right next to cartoons, and it worked for the most part. Like when like the aliens are in the trench coat and you see like their hands moving the actual trench coat, the thing's moving exactly where their hands are touching it in like the exact way that they're touching it. It's like, like that's good.
I was gonna say I thought that this scene was the most jarring scene out of all of them. Because putting the Toons in the real life outfit, but then the people inside are Toons, just didn't really mesh to me. And then of course the CG for when they come out onto the floor and like steal talent is just like, what? It's awful. Like, I mean, it's just objectively bad. Even for the era in which it came out, it was just not good.
The cartoons themselves look like really good in this. The CG, I agree with you, is very rubbery and glossy looking no matter what setting it is. Like pretty much like all the CGI is pretty much just like when the human characters are doing something cartoony, and that looks really weird, like when they fold like Michael Jordan into a basketball, which I know you I know you were gonna get to that, and when they inflate Newman and all that, and also like when you see like a like they kind of do like this like really jarring like tracking shot inside the stadium for like the big game in like the Looney Tunes stadium, and it's like clearly CGI, but like all the characters are like the normal like animated selves, so they stand out, and the CGI in this is very glossy and very rubbery looking, but it has like a really high sheen to it.
Fallen value.
Yeah, it was.
So I was actually looking into this. I guess this was one of the first movies that did like a lot of mocapping.
Okay.
So for like the shots with Michael Jordan in them, he's being guarded by like 3 or 4 guys in like green screen suits.
Yeah, it's kind of some funny stock footage from that as well.
Oh my god. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm like looking at some of the pictures. It's just really funny.
What did you type? I want to look it up.
I'm just on IMDb. Like there's several pictures, and like literally the first one is Michael Jordan being guarded by 2 guys wearing a basically just green ninjas. They that's exactly what they look like, and I can't see anything else but him being attacked by green ninjas, and it's like,
why wasn't this movie Michael Jordan versus the Wu-Tang Clan? I would have watched that.
Yes.
Anyway,
that was the premise of Shaq Fu.
Yeah, basically. What was the what were the part? Where were we at?
The aliens capture all the talent, and the Looney Tunes is like, all right, well, let's kind of practice.
Right. So they grow to like 10 feet tall sized like giant basketball players, and by the way, all become like super aggressive like meatheads after the transformation, which I think is hilarious given that they transformed using the talent from NBA players. Yeah. I feel like that's a commentary on something.
Okay, so this scene, the Looney Tunes are on the court and the aliens show up, and yeah, I thought this was going to be like, I thought this was going to be not the game. I thought this was just going to be a game and something was going to happen and they were going to go get Michael Jordan. But I guess they were just practicing, but I thought this was just going to be the game. And then later, after they get Michael Jordan, same thing. I thought, okay, is this going to be is going to be the game? And it still isn't. Like I'm like, are they practicing? Why do the aliens just keep showing up? I can kind of give it to the
villains just keep showing up because they like need them to be there for the scene for some reason. Even in the scenes that they're in, it's sort of like, why is this?
Yeah, why are you guys here?
Why they have there's no compelling reason for them to show up other than the plot says that they need to show up.
Yeah, also they never fully established like when the game was going to happen. It's just like, do they just keep showing up? It's like, are we going to play yet? It's like, no, all right, later.
No, and he pulls out the book again. It says we need more time to practice defending ourselves.
Yeah. It's like date TBD.
Yeah, they kept showing up. I'm like, is this... So they get Michael Jordan. They pull him, through a golf hole, which makes... And they all just are... The people with him are like, okay, like we said before. He like goes... Yeah, they're underground. He goes into the Looney Tune world. And the same thing. For a second, he's like, Bugs Bunny, you're not real. But then he just accepts the reality. And it's just really weird. I was like...
Because Bugs Bunny kissed him. It's like, well... No one can kiss me that well and isn't fake.
No one can kiss that well and not mean it.
Like, honestly, though, like, Bugs Bunny makes a joke where he's like, if I wasn't real, could I do this? And he lays one on Michael Jordan. And then Michael's like, I guess he's right. And, like, we just continue with the movie.
We're just going to gloss over the fact that, like, Bugs Bunny just made out with Michael Jordan. Because that's what the movie wanted. That's what the kids want.
Animators spent time and resources and were paid a living wage to make Bugs Bunny make out with Michael Jordan. And
someone on set had to tell Michael Jordan, it's like, all right, this is the part where Bugs Bunny kisses you. Now make a face that looks like you're being kissed and make it a good one.
And somehow Michael Jordan didn't just, like, walk out and never come back. And also, like, whenever, like, look, when Michael Jordan's like, you know, like, when they do, like, all hands in, or when he's just, like, touching the tunes or whatever, it's fine. Like, the animation is passable. But whenever, like, they need him to do something, like, actually toony, like, when they bring him up on, like, the huge, giant, like doctor's chair or whatever, it doesn't hold up.
Yeah. So yeah, they basically kidnap Michael Jordan, convince, like, hey, like, we need you to, like, help us win a game of basketball, otherwise we're gonna be slaves by, like, these aliens, like, and literally just, like, in, like, this one brief conversation, it's like, all right, I'll help.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like,
there's no refusal. There's no like, this is insane. This isn't real. There was no, like, every time there was, I mean, the whole movie, yes, there is a one linear conflict, but every time there's these, like, mini conflicts, they just get resolved. They're not even a conflict. They just they just don't exist. I'm like, why isn't he questioning any of this reality?
It's literally like it's literally just like a one sentence, like, rebuttal, and then just immediately gets dismissed. Like, hey, it's like, Bugs Bunny, you're not real. Yes, I am. All right, I guess he's real. Let's help you win that game of basketball.
It's like every time the screenwriter runs into a problem, you know, or the screenwriter committee, I should say, because there's no way that this is one person. Every time that the screenwriting committee runs into a problem, they go, oh, we've ran into a problem. We have to address it. But then they forget, the part where you have to fix it. So like when again, this is
Bill
jumping ahead a
Murray.
little, but when Bill Murray shows up at the end, right? And Daffy Duck is like, Bill Murray, how'd you get here? And Bill Murray's literally like, well, I'm friends with the producer, so he just dropped me off. I'm like, what? What?
Was that
I was
supposed
the
to be a
same
clever
way.
joke?
I'm like,
It's like I don't.
That's just breaking the fourth wall. That's not even doing it in a fun way. That's just breaking
yeah,
the
for 5 seconds,
like,
I'm like, I do appreciate that Daffy Duck did question this, because I was like, why and how are you here? How did you get here? And then, yeah, we just get a very, like, it's because the joke, and
it's not
the
an
joke,
explanation. It's a
the
non-explanation.
the joke is that he says, the producer is a friend of mine, he dropped me off, and the producer of the movie he was friends with. So that's just, it's a joke that I feel like no one's gonna be like, oh, that's funny, because he's friends with this guy. I feel like no, even adults were like, not.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I had to look that up. It's
You
like
should
this
have
makes
studied
no
beforehand.
sense. This movie just like
This is Space
required
Jam.
like
They expect you to know the source material going in.
it's like you don't understand the lore of Space Jam. It's like, oh, you're not even like a real fan.
It's like a early Disney movie when it's like a storybook that opens up of like it's like Space Jam.
Actually, this was explained in a prequel comic that came out in '97, a year after the movie came out. It's like, oh, shut up.
But yeah, there's just no. So the Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan, they go to it's a gym, and it's gross, and so they all start spitting, and the Tasmanian Devil runs around to wipe it up with spit.
Yeah, because it needs a spit shine.
And so Michael
it.
Jordan says,
just a non-joke. Are we gonna talk about the
I
getting
was getting to that. I was getting to that. So he says like I can't play without my shoes or my all this stuff. And so Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck decide to go to Michael Jordan's house to get the things he needs. I didn't understand why Michael Jordan just didn't go. Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say that. Instead of Michael Jordan going to Michael Jordan's house to get the stuff that he needs. It's not like he's a prisoner.
Yeah.
I also don't understand why he doesn't tell them specifically where his shoes and shorts are instead of just having them wander aimlessly through his house and hope that they find it.
Or at least why it didn't why didn't Michael Jordan, if they wanted a scene of them in the real world, fine, but why could Michael Jordan could have gone with them? It didn't really make sense why he wasn't there.
And then we have this whole bit where we have to say that Looney Tunes are really short for some reason, so that the dog can become a giant, viable threat to them.
Yeah. This bulldog that's
named
literally
Charles.
2 feet tall is towering over Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny. It's like, they're not that short. Like, what are the proportions of this dog right now?
We literally get a sighting that Bugs Bunny is 3'3" later on in the movie, which means that dog is at least like 4 feet tall.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and his kids walk up next to this dog, and they're like, I don't know, like maybe 4 feet tall. Like they're like little kids.
Yeah, and the dog's normal size to them because they're using the actual dog. And every time they need to make the dog look like intimidating to the Toons, it's like really clear that they've just like taken the dog and just like blown it up because like the quality of the image is decreased compared to the rest of the frame.
And they also like mess with its eyes to make it look like it's like purposely growling and sneering at them. I guess they make it.
Did they edit that? I thought they just like got some footage of the dog being angry.
No, it's like his eyes look like drastically different than the rest of like his body, especially like the area around his eyes. It's just like that doesn't match up. Like they flared up his eyes to make it look like he's like staring like intensely at them, and like they like droop his eyebrows to make it look like he's like squinting at them, like basically giving like a Clint Eastwood's like, you met your day, punk.
Yeah, that whole scene is just, you could take it out of the movie and you would lose nothing.
So Archie, just before this, they come out of the. Oh, no, see, is this before or after they? No, it's after. Sorry, they're at the like the assistant or the publicist sees them, right?
After
he makes them.
Yeah.
Actually,
when they're coming back,
see, really quick, the kids. The only thing about the kids that because they wanted. I was fine with the scene of the kids being like, "Whoa, like it's Bugs Bunny" or whatever. But like again, I feel like for me, I'm like, I get as a kid, you might believe because you think these characters are real at a certain age. You think you're, I can accept
Right.
that.
Yeah.
What I thought was weird was I feel like if I saw the Scooby Gang going through my mom's closet, I'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you here? Like, I would be questioning that at least.
They really don't question like why Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck are here, and there's like also it's like, oh, we're gonna help your dad win a game. We just need to get his stuff. Don't tell anyone. It's a secret. It's like that is the creepiest thing to ever tell a child. It's like, don't tell anyone.
We're taking your...
We're just stealing your dad's stuff. Don't tell anyone. It's our secret. It's like,
Jeez, why is Bugs Bunny now voiced by Danny DeVito?
So
don't tell your mother.
Tell your mom I said hello.
God. So, like, look, the kids are in the movie interacting with the Toons because they thought, like, it's, like, just blatant pandering, like, to a kid audience to have the kids in the movie. They don't do anything. They're not well written. They're just sort of there.
Yeah.
They don't factor into Michael's character at all. So, just the whole bit is just, it's pointless. There's no entertainment value to be had there, except some good lines from Daffy Duck in those scenes.
Yeah. So yeah, going ahead. So they come back with Michael Jordan stuff, and it's like he practiced playing. He kind of like practiced playing a little bit of like basketball because it's been a while. He's been playing baseball for a while now.
When we get the expected montage of Michael Jordan being Michael Jordan.
Yes, just him playing basketball to the song of "Fly Like an Eagle."
No. It was
the song that was playing?
I Believe I Can Fly. Oh no, that's the beginning and the ending of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. There were a lot of like very clear copywritten songs in this movie, and I kind of just lost track of it. It's like, why are they playing this song? I mean, I like this song, but it's like, I don't know. Just seems like they could have put their money elsewhere for this one. So yeah, his publicist shows up and it's like, hey, like you can just sit on this bench here and like you're like our backup player. Like he basically like benches him because he really wants to help, even though he has zero basketball training, which I don't get why he doesn't. It's like, I'll go get some other players to like help out. It's like
the publicist, yeah.
Can I say credit to the movie? At least they gave us some reason for the publicist getting down into the like Toon world in that he follows Daffy and Bugs.
Yeah.
Like,
they gave a reason and a fair explanation for that because he was literally digging this huge like unrealistically sized hole with just a shovel, even though there's literally like a ramp that they literally have like a bobcat to dig that out. He literally digs like this 10-foot deep, like 10-foot wide diameter hole.
To be fair, I don't know. I'm not like that upset about that bit. That's one of the funnier bits that he's in. Like, I'm more sad that he actually like gets down to Toon World, so we have to look at him for the rest of the movie.
But just he just accepts all of it. Yeah.
So we have to listen to him for the rest of the movie.
And he just totally accepts. He's not at all like, wait, what? Like Michael Jordan's like, I gotta help my friends, and he's not at all like, what the hell? What?
You gotta help your cartoon characters. This is all hallucination. Like nobody at any point is like, this is all hallucination. This isn't real. How could this be real? Nobody does that. He's just sort of like, thank God I found Michael Jordan, and also cartoon characters are real and in the real world.
So
like,
he does have a line where it's like, Michael, you are aware that your friends here are cartoons, like, and Michael's like, yeah, so it's, oh yeah, no, nothing. I don't have a problem with that. You don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. It's like he almost like backtracks like. Is like, I'm not racist towards cartoons or anything like that.
It's like he's speaking for what the producers hope the audience is doing. Like, the producers are like, yeah, if Michael doesn't have a problem with an audience, why do you have a problem with it? Like, because Michael should have a problem with it.
So there's a point around. I don't remember what point where it is, but there is a point where we're seeing that like the basketball players in the real world, they're struggling like because they don't have their talent and everything sucks. We see them go to a psychic and they're all holding hands and sitting around a table and she's looking into her crystal ball going, I see aliens stealing your talent and I see Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny and they're all like, what? So before when they're like, they're seeing, they don't know what's going on with all of these like different athletes, different basketball players, and the NBA is being shut down, and they're all like, it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I'm like, you're like, you're warm, You're not too far off. But I thought it was like, but they're all wearing gas masks and the NBA thing shut down, and I'm like, oh, that's a little, it's like Wreck-It Ralph is a little too close to home right now with the accuracy.
Yeah. This just in, Space Jam predicted the future.
Oh boy.
Oh god.
No! I don't want
Really?
Space Jam to dictate
That's
the future!
That's where I thought Sam was going.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. So moving on, the next scene we are introduced to the very first introduction of Lola Bunny. So Aaron, you had some very strong opinions
Actually, I have
about
stronger
this.
opinions about the scene that comes directly after this one. I do have strong opinions on Lola Bunny because this is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because I might be wrong, I believe this is the first instance of Lola Bunny existing.
This is her like very
in
first
any
appearance.
in
This
any
is
Looney Tunes
her
medium.
debut.
This is the first time that she appeared, and
yeah,
as far as I know, this is the first time she has shown
up. I don't know
up.
who or what entity thought that it needed to be in the movie. Like, it's just such like a shameless, like, we're gonna make we need a love interest in the movie because it's a movie, and therefore we have to have a heterosexual romance in the movie. So who's available? Well, Michael's not available. He already has a wife. So it's got to be one of the Toons. Our biggest profile one is Bugs Bunny, of course. So we're just going to introduce a sexy girl bunny who's going to have like maybe 10 lines in the entire movie.
But she's
really good at basketball. And it's so by the numbers, like, bullshit writing that I despise I don't despise the character.
Lola Bunny.
I want to say that. The character in and of itself is not necessarily something that you would, if you saw a character like this, excluding the basketball element, if you saw a character like this in a Bugs Bunny cartoon, it wouldn't be like that crazy, right?
I did like her though, yeah.
So I don't despise the character for that reason. Why I despise the character is that it's just such a like
bullshit
corporate, like, oh, well, this is a character that ticks all the boxes thing. So now it's in the movie. There's no reason for it to be in the movie, but it's here now because money, because that's what we do, right? And I hate her character so much. And also there's the whole
I was very
this is a kids movie.
Like, that's gotta hurt her ears.
This is a kids movie, so let's put a whole super like sexy like it's like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit with Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, I was literally about to say I was getting like some very like much like, and I said this earlier, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like Jessica Rabbit like vibes specifically from her of just like, okay, let's like find like a very like overly sexualized stereotype of
and put it
woman,
in a kids movie.
And put it in a kids movie. It's like no negative repercussions.
She couldn't have just been a girl bunny who happens to be good at basketball. Like, if you hadn't laid on the overt sexual overtones, like
she literally, like, when she literally first shows up, they're playing like smooth like saxophone music. It's like, it's like, are we watching a porno?
Yeah, the low budget like porno flick music comes on, and you're like, am I on yiff.com? I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I want to leave. I want to go home.
Please.
I appreciate. I agree. I don't.
Again.
Yeah, she was really over sexualized, but I did like that she was. Yeah, I agree. I did like that she was a female character that was good at basketball, and I did like when Bugs Bunny called her doll, and she was like pretty offended. I did like that stuff, but yeah, I agree. Yeah, she was a little uncomfortably and unsettlingly sexualized in a kids movie.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them saying, hey, there's a lot of like, most of our Looney Tune characters are men, so let's introduce a woman. Here's a girl bunny who plays basketball and she's really good at it. And maybe Bugs has the hots for her and he's gonna be over the top about it, but like, the fact that you just make it so that every single character in this entire movie just is like a horn dog for this fucking bunny. It's like, stop it. Like, this is like borderline fetishistic shit going on.
It's like we already have that.
Like,
it's like we already have that with Pepe Le Pew. We don't need this
right?
with anyone else.
And you already have like a character that works for like if you wanted to like dip into that side of humor, you already have the whole Pepe Le Pew like lineup like available if you want to do that. But like his love interest, he's in the movie, but his love interest shows up in one shot and doesn't say anything.
Who was
Well, to be fair, she never says anything.
True, but
the cat, it's his love interest is like a cat that like gets some like white paint on her to like makes her look like a skunk, and she's constantly running away from him.
The whole episode is basically guys don't know what no means.
Oh my god.
Hashtag Me Too Looney Tunes.
Oh god.
That's literally what that is. It's something that you really can't make anymore.
Really
can we move on from Lola sexualized?
Yeah, let's move into what I really want to talk about.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is the scene where Michael Jordan gets screwed up into a ball and dribbled through a cartoon character's legs.
Yeah, the Monstars show up and it's like, oh, this guy doesn't have any talent, so they just fold him up into a basketball and then they just slam dunk with him after like throwing him around a bunch. And then Michael Jordan just
gets up and he's like, all right, that's not cool, guys. Okay, I'll help you beat them. Like, and I'm like, what? How is your entire worldview not like destroyed by the fact that my worldview is destroyed because this just happened to Michael? Okay, I watched this when I was a kid. I did not remember this scene. Like, this scene was scrubbed from my memory, and I just watched the movie again, and I was like my jaw dropped. I couldn't look away from the screen. I couldn't blink. I was just like, somebody like wrote this into the script. Okay, a committee approved it. Michael Jordan approved it, and then animators spent probably weeks animating Michael Jordan. Like, that's like the definition of a cock-up cascade, where things just like happen, and you're just like, how? And then you get the final product, and you're just like, how did this like happen? How did this make it here?
I don't think that's a weird.
Yeah.
I don't think the idea of it is that absurd in the world. The problem is that it's, first of all, it doesn't hold up. It doesn't look good. I can't imagine it looking that good ever. And it just,
and he's talking while it's happening.
Yeah, it mainly just ruins, especially because in the whole like last 10 seconds, like, oh, you can be like a Looney Tune here, like that.
Really, I had no idea when I got thrown through a basketball hoop at 400 miles an hour.
Because he seems to accept that it happens.
And my head was in close proximity of my ass.
They should have done it with another character, not Michael Jordan, because it looks
Or if they had
horrifying.
like made him like when he goes into the Toon World, if they had made the decision to like hand draw and animate him, or animated him in the same way as the rest of the Looney Tunes, like if they had made the decision to do that, then it wouldn't have been horrifying, because then it looks like toony, so it's fine. But like, it's sort of like The Mask. Even in The Mask, they did this better when The Mask is like sort of like toonifying the people he's interacting with. It's not like that horrifying. And like The Mask in the comics, right? He doesn't toonify the people he interacts with. So the things that he does to real people are brutal.
The Mask comic compared to the movie
but that's my point,
different.
Is that you took something that's like innocent when you do it to a Toon character, like, oh, haha, Bugs Bunny scrunched up Daffy Duck and turned him into a basketball and dunked him through a hoop. That's funny. Yeah. When it's a real life person that you have to like CG animate to do it, especially with 90s animation, it's just horrific.
The nightmares.
Also, if going on the idea of if they decided to animate Michael Jordan when he's in the Toon World, would that mean that they would have to make a live action equivalent of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck when they're in the real world, when they're searching through Michael Jordan's house? Like, how would that work?
No, they don't. You don't. You haven't explained anything in this movie. You don't need to explain that to me either, okay? Just don't do that.
I don't think Michael Jordan needs to be hand-drawn, because then it would have been just kind of like, those, like, when they, like, on animated shows, when they would throw in real people, like, there's, like, a Scooby-Doo series where they would have, like, real people, like, Dick Van Dyke was on one, or Sandy Duncan was on one. It would have been just kind of like that. I think they just shouldn't have had Michael Jordan being CGI'd into a weird basketball. and it
like,
looked terrible.
I agree with you that there's like market appeal, which is why that they kept him as Michael Jordan the whole movie. Sure. Like, this isn't like, one of the Scooby-Doo episodes where we're going to draw, John Cena or whatever.
Yeah.
But, but, like, if you were going to do something that outlandish with him, you can't do it the way they did it, because it's just bad. It's just really, really bad.
Yes. Okay.
So,
okay,
I think we can move on from this scene. I think we've talked it to death.
So moving on, let's just jump straight into the final
not
game.
Much happens at this,
because that's pretty much
between this point.
Yeah, it didn't. It was. This is supposed to be. I mean, no, halfway through the game is the climax. I wouldn't say it was the climax when the game starts. It's still Act 2. They're all, and I gotta say, Michael Jordan's Toon jersey. I mean, that's cool. He probably kept that. He probably still has that. Like, I do think that's a cool, like, memento from the movie.
I don't think like naming it the Toon Squad was necessarily like a bad decision, and the design of the jersey is fine. It's got the Warner Brothers, like circle on it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta represent
the Toon Squad and the Monstars, because they're monsters with the
star power,
talent of of Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, and other people. Yes.
Yeah.
and the beginning, obviously, the Monstars are doing so much better because they're so much bigger. And
I mean, not because they're so much bigger, because they're like literally like crushing people, which like is Toon is like makes sense for a Toon like thing. But I wish that at the beginning they had a scene where Marvin the Martian, as the referee, tries to check somebody for like breaking the rules and gets wrecked, because then it would make sense.
I also kind of want to point out, like, it was kind of genius that they made Marvin the Martian the referee, because he is both a Looney Tune and an alien, so therefore he is a mutually unbiased referee to both parties.
That's smart.
Yeah, that was like one of the few instances of like, and who knows if that was even like how they thought of it. They might have just been like, who haven't we used? Marvin the Martian can be a referee, but like it does work. It works actually surprisingly well.
It really does work. Yeah, it works even well because they really don't even put that much emphasis on it. Like, they don't focus on like Marvin the Martian that much. He only shows up like maybe like 2 or 3 times, and most of the time he's kind of ignored.
Yeah, but I wish we had seen him actually like trying to implement rules at the beginning of the game, because we do see him do it like towards the end of the game and he gets like wrecked. But if we'd seen it at the beginning of the game, we wouldn't be like expecting a whistle the first time one of the Monstars like stomps Daffy Duck into a paste.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if he did that for like every time someone broke a rule, like both teams would be disqualified, because every team like breaks. Literally, like Daffy Duck like drives around on a moped, and we see Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam for some reason pull Pulp Fiction reference and just shoot the teeth out of one of the Monstars, and even plays like the Pulp Fiction theme of
that was? Oh my god!
Yeah, that was a Pulp Fiction reference.
What the hell? What child is gonna get that?
Hey kids, remember watching that scene where they blew that one dude's brains out in the back of his car, and then we had that scene where that one guy says the N-word 40 times? Kids watched that movie, right?
Ah, shit! Shit! This is a tasty burger!
This is a tasty burger.
They should have had somebody in the background eating a burger. Why wasn't Samuel L. Jackson
in this movie?
Say what again? Say what one more time? I dare you. I double dare you.
Can we get a version of Space Jam, but it's Sam Jackson instead? I would be way more interested in watching that.
Oh my god! Oh no!
Wait, what event would he be helping?
Comic-Con or something?
Then like
Comic-Con? That's not an event.
Then like when Bugs Bunny is like, nah, we're totally real. Samuel L. Jackson could just be like, well, shit, that's all you had to say.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that works way too well.
Moving back, trying to get back on topic here.
Wait, there's a scene of all the Looney Tunes dressed as different Sam Jackson characters. So Bugs Bunny's like Nick Fury, and somebody's Shaft.
Daffy Duck's the villain.
Someone's
Shaft is the villain from
somebody
Kingsman.
Somebody's Frozone. Like,
Yeah. Oh my god.
Okay, we have gone just way digressed from the.
We have gone down the rabbit hole. Speaking of rabbit holes, Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny are in this
Daffy Duck is
movie.
a duck, not a rabbit. But anyway.
Yes.
Moving on.
But we're back on
So,
topic
of course,
now.
the Monstars are doing very well in the first half. We get to see our favorite, Looney Tune characters who we love and cherish get absolutely pounded into mincemeat, which I guess is fine.
Yeah, not for them. Not for
They'll
them.
I mean, but it's like, that's Looney Tunes. Slapstick is Looney Tunes.
Yeah. No,
It's
for
not
sure.
like super engaging slapstick, but like it's hard to
it's
ruin slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like Three Stooges level slapstick, but it's like, I don't know, maybe like Abbott and
I
Costello
mean, it was fine.
slapstick.
It made sense. It worked. Yeah, exactly.
It's what we expected from a Looney Tunes movie with Michael Jordan in it.
For kids. Yeah.
The first half is really quick, and the second half is like twice as long.
And because that's the climax of the movie. Like, so,
Right.
Michael Jordan is basically trying to give him a pep talk, and Daffy Duck's like, "Oh, he's gonna make a pep talk."
Before that, Michael Jordan like here's like the Danny DeVito's character, like Mr. Schwackhammer or whatever the heck his name is, like talk like, "Hey, I need you guys to destroy these guys," and it's like, "Hey, quit talking trash about our teams. Like, let's make this game more interesting."
Later.
No, that hasn't
later.
happened yet. That doesn't happen till
okay.
Because he doesn't know about the talent yet. He doesn't know about that till after halftime.
So,
Gotcha.
He's trying to give them a pep talk. Michael Jordan's trying to give his team a pep talk, and Daffy's just kind of being being an asshole and being like, "Oh yeah, he's giving us a pep talk. Oh, like I've heard this before." Like, and he's saying like, "No, I've been in your position. We can do this." Or actually, when the game's just starting and they all have their hands in the middle, he's like, "Let's just have fun." And it's like, no, the stakes are so high for them. You have no stake in this.
Let's just go out and have a good time, guys. I mean, if you lose, you'll be enslaved for your entire lives. But let's just go out and have a grand old time.
So he then gives them...
Yeah. It's like, hey, it's like the stakes aren't high for me at all. It's like, I'm just going to have fun.
It's kind of making fun of, I'm guessing...
Happens.
I don't know, is Michael Jordan's drink Gatorade? Or is that what that's trying to make fun of? They all basically start drinking it's Michael Jordan stuff. And they all they all just start to feel powerful and it's just water.
Oh, was that not like a closet steroids reference?
That's what I picked up on.
Gatorade, and then I thought it was a steroid.
It wasn't actually anything, but like I was like, was this a thing? Like, is this something we don't have context for that Michael has secret stuff?
Because literally, like Daffy Duck is just like, it's like, you know what? I'm not a fan to this idea, and like Michael Jordan's like, do you want to win or not? Drink it. It's like, all right, this goes against everything they taught me in health class. Like, okay, this is definitely a steroids reference.
That's when I thought it was a steroids reference, but before I was like, are we encouraging them to take? I mean,
Michael Jordan is, so therefore everyone should.
Like, I think it was supposed to be like, oh, the power of belief, because later he's gonna tell him. But I mean, let's be honest, guys. Like, there was no main moral point to this movie. There's no character arcing. There is no like moral like hero's journey happening here.
Yeah,
this movie is not intended to have an emotional impact. It's just supposed to be. There's a comparison to be made for what the hell's the movie? Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Where we're going to have all the Looney Tunes here because we're going to have all the Looney Tunes here because that's
pop
the movie.
Culture.
But they don't, like, they're just sort of there. They don't contribute, right? Like, there's no, like, okay, Ready Player One actually does have a plot and, like, attempts character arcing, so it's not quite the same.
And there's an emotional tie to it.
I think you kind of get what I'm getting
there's
at
a hero,
here, is that, like,
there was room for this
nobody
to have
was
a hero's
like,
journey.
there should be an arc to this movie.
There was the thing, is it could have had potential to be a hero's journey, and they didn't take advantage of it. Like, I thought it could have been used to apply to, like, I don't know, like the struggle of Michael Jordan's baseball career. Like, I don't know. There was room. It needed a rewrite for sure.
It throws out like 5 different possible morals to the movie.
Yeah,
but it doesn't like do anything with any of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
So after questionable steroids use, we see the scene of the other locker room.
So they're all
Newman is spying on them and learns that they stole the talent of all the NBA players, and then they set him on fire and let him go for some reason.
We think they set him on fire. We don't know. He just sort of shows up smoking.
Yeah,
But
and covered in like soot.
But so that scene though, he's looking the other way. Like I looking at the team, and I was like, what the hell? I thought he was gonna like abandon ship. But then I inferred from the setting that he was in a locker, but we never saw him get into the locker. It looks like he went in after them. How did he get in there without anyone noticing?
Yeah, they didn't really explain any of that, did they?
Yeah.
And
nah, Newman's just that stealthy.
And then he
clearly.
And then he
really worked out for him in Jurassic Park.
Clever girl.
Clever girl.
So then, he says they stole all the talent from the NBA, and Michael Jordan's like, that's what happens. And, the questionable steroid use, they go back out. They're now they're doing really well, and they're catching up to the Monstars. And they're starting to catch up, so that's when, villain guy. I can't think of his name.
Danny
DeVito. Let's do Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito basically decides like, oh, I don't want the Looney Tunes. I want Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan says, okay, if we win, you give the NBA their talent back, and if you win, you get me. And he was just gonna have him sign autographs forever, and then play basketball and lose. That was going to be the rest of forever for him.
His eternal punishment.
Yes. Just like, oh my god.
That sounds like fun to me, I guess.
So,
well, yeah. And also, like, Michael Jordan is the one that, like, when he's like, what do I get if I win? Michael Jordan volunteers himself.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems to me like...
that's pretty selfless of him.
Yeah, but it's also like, I feel like there were other things that this is Earth, right? There's like, what if we gave him like a couple tigers, right? They don't have those in space. Like, I feel like there were better options than consigning yourself to a lifetime of servitude.
Or also the fact that, like, dude, you're rich. You're literally the face of basketball right now. It's the 90s. You are Michael Jordan. You could have just like, hey, I'll give you like a few $1 million.
Yeah,
like, if the villain had said, okay, but if we win, we get you, it would have worked. But because Michael Jordan volunteers himself, it's like, are you just like that crazy? Like, I feel like there were better options here.
He's playing basketball with Looney Tunes. Crazy has already left the station, Aaron.
I guess that's fair.
So,
along with all the competent writers.
Oh,
ooh, 90s.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you guys are gonna do movie reviews with me, I'm gonna get
That's why I said
I'm gonna get vicious.
I said to Kevin, we need to bring you on for Food Fight when the time comes.
The time has not come.
I haven't even seen Food Fight, and I don't want to.
Please.
I don't think I'm ready.
Space Jam's gonna look like the fucking Mona Lisa compared to that.
Oh yeah, seriously. So yeah, they're doing really well, and one of the Monstars like climbs like the top of a hoop because like
That's
after
legal.
like the whole deal like takes place, and like Danny DeVito tells like the Monstars like, all right, crush him. He basically tells them all to like Karate Kid style sweep the leg, just take them all out of commission. So literally every player is getting like stepped on,
horrifically
squashed,
injured, like even worse than in the first half.
So one of them climbs like the top of a hoop and tries to like belly flop on top of Lola, and Bugs Bunny heroically shoves her out of the way and takes a bullet for her, and he gets a kiss for that because you're a hero.
To be like, for taking an injury that like normal tunes sustain every time.
Like,
which
this is not like a lethal injury or like anything that like he's literally fine like a minute later.
To be fair, Bugs Bunny, out of any character in anything ever, is probably the best person at milking an injury for all it's worth, even an injury that's not real.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of felt on character for him to try that. But again, like, I mean, I'm not even gonna go into it. Let's just move on. We all saw it coming. We knew it was gonna happen.
Seriously.
Yeah, so the stakes are a lot. I mean, the Looney Tunes are off the hook, but the stakes are now higher for Michael Jordan. And in the last 10 seconds of the game, they need a fifth player. And they put... they need a fifth player, and they put Newman in, and he immediately gets killed.
Yeah, they need a fifth player, so
flattened.
Newman steps up, and he basically turns into a pancake.
Immediately.
He
gets the ball, and all 5 of them just jump on him.
Yeah, and then he turns into a pancake because of that, and this turns into the second like body horror thing that happened, which doctors show up with a gurney and a bike pump and just inflate him, and he just turns into a balloon that just flies all over the place and eventually just lands on the gurney. And then the Looney Tunes tell Michael Jordan's like, yeah, anyone can be a Toon here in Toonland. It's like, you're literally telling me this 10 seconds left of the game. We're 1 point away.
And then Bill Murray shows up.
Yes.
Yes.
With no explanation. He just appears and says, "I'll join." I'm convinced that like he wasn't. They had something else written, like another Toon character was going to show up, and Bill Murray just like drove to the studio that day.
It's like, hey, just said, you guys need me to cameo?
I'm here to be in the final scene, and like nobody had the heart to tell him he wasn't in the final scene.
No, it's like I'd like to think that like he just showed up. It's like, okay, I'm ready for my cameo for this movie. It's like, oh, I got an even better. You're in this entire basketball scene. It's like, but I don't play basketball. You do now. Here's $1,000. Like, all right.
It's really obvious, by the way, that he does not know how to play basketball.
Oh, very clearly. He literally like as soon as he gets it, he like passes it to Michael, and then like that's it.
They have him dribble for a little bit, and his dribbling is like.
Yeah,
it's just like it's not like practiced at all. You know, it's like when you watch the movie with Adam Sandler where he's in jail and he has to play football.
Oh, The Longest Yard.
The Longest Yard. When you watch The Longest Yard, you can tell that Adam Sandler played football. Like just the way he moves, the way he throws the ball, you can tell that he knows how to play it. Bill Murray, the way he moves, the way he
well, of course,
ball,
Adam
Sandler know that he doesn't play basketball.
Well, of course, Adam Sandler played football. Haven't you seen The Water Boy? Stupid.
Thanks, man.
Sorry, it was you left it open. Sorry.
And it keeps cutting back and forth between the clock going down, the seconds ticking down, and we then Michael Jordan and the monsters like grab him, and he just stretches out his arm to put the ball in the basket.
The basket in the basket.
Which, by the way, the bit where he actually throws the ball in is like horrifically like it.
This movie's giving you nightmares.
It's really derpy.
Yeah.
It's really derpy, and also, can we talk about the fact that every basket in this game is a dunk?
Yes.
Nobody shoots.
It's not a real game unless you dunk.
I'm like, real life basketball, maybe 3% of the baskets scored are dunks in any given game, right? There's like 200, or there's like 100 baskets scored over the course of a game. Maybe 3 or 4 of them are dunks. In this, I don't think anyone actually shoots it and scores it aside from Little Michael at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and the little girl that like completely shows up, Charles Barkley.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, the group of girls, yeah.
But in the actual main game, nobody shoots the basketball.
Seriously?
It's like Michael stretches his arm to the hoop. Also, Michael could have just shot from there.
Yeah.
Where's the fun in that?
So he scores with 1 second left. The Toons win. I think we get another kiss from Lola here. I know she kisses Bugs twice.
She kisses him when Michael leaves.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, the bad guy like shows up, is like, oh, you guys are worthless. You guys lost the game for us. And then Michael just like has this sudden realization, is like, why are you guys taking this from him? He's like, oh, because he's bigger and stronger than us. And it's like, they're like towering 10 feet over this 4 foot tall man. It's like, oh. So they literally just beat him up and then strap him to a rocket and launch him to the moon. It's like, oh, that solves that problem? You guys didn't realize that you guys were stronger than him like a week ago? Because apparently you guys already have this power to just steal energy from people.
And then Michael's like, see, you had it inside you the whole time. I'm like, no, they didn't. They didn't have it until they stole it from the NBA players.
Yeah.
Also, if they could just like leech power from people, why are they even scared of this guy in the first place? Like, It just raises more
that
questions.
That would have been a different movie
answers.
that Michael Jordan didn't need to be in.
And then we have the one last problem. Oh, he takes the talent back from the guys, and the guys are like, the little minions are like, we don't want to go back to the moon. It sucks there. Can we stay here with the Looney Tunes? And the Looney Tunes are like, yeah, sure. And then they were never seen again. So I'm just assuming that they all got eaten by the cat.
Oh my gosh!
There's no indication that they even stay. We just know that they've been invited. Yes, they can stay. We don't know if they do or don't.
Yeah,
it was a setup for Space Jam 2. Obviously, we'll find out their fate when in 2021,
or probably 2022 at this rate.
Yeah.
And then so Newman shows back up completely fine. And it's like, Michael, you got a baseball game in 5 minutes. Like, we gotta go. It's like, all right, I guess it's time to go. So they just borrow the alien spaceship and fly him to his baseball game. And it's like, oh, whoa, that's cool. Oh, cool, it's Michael. All right, let's get this game started.
Also, everyone at the baseball stadium is like chanting for Michael Jordan because he's not there yet.
It's like, you guys still have a full team. You guys can play the game.
It's so over the top.
Play without him.
The hubbub around Michael, and you think that they're like going to make a point about it, and they just never do. It's just sort of like, it's there because it's funny, right?
And Michael Jordan's wife is sitting with the kids, and she's like, where is your dad? And one of them's like, he's at his other game. And she's like, what other game? And the kids are like, shh, like, we're not supposed to tell anyone. And then the mom's like, what's going on?
It's like, oh, you like this was a weird thing. It's like, why are they drawing so much focus to this when it's a joke that goes nowhere? They put so much emphasis on this, and it's like, is this building up to something? Oh no, he's already here. All right, joke's over, I guess.
It should have ended with a scene, or had some scene of showing like the Looney Tunes and the aliens, or it should have got like for some quick little end result with them. But yeah, we never see them again.
Instead, we got a scene of Michael Jordan giving the talent back to the other players and basically telling them that they're all like shitty.
Yeah.
Like, he walks in,
like,
he talks shit, he says, touch this magical orb I have. They're like, no. He's like, just do it. And then they do it, and then they get their talent back. And then he decides to play basketball again.
Yeah.
And that's the movie.
So the moral of the story is...
Do drugs, kids. They make you better at basketball.
This is like the movie where we learned why he decided to quit baseball. Because a bunch of Looney Tunes had him play a basketball game, and that made him realize that he was better at basketball than he was at baseball, and now he's back to playing basketball. Like, there's like here's the thing, you're supposed to like tie up loose ends at the end of a movie, so the important part in a movie is to set up things that at the end you can pay off and then tie up, right? That's part of the writing process in a movie. Oftentimes you have light act 3s until you start setting up more stuff earlier in the movie that you can then bring to a close in act 3 that preferably cements the point you were already trying to make. The problem is they weren't trying to make a point with this movie, so they had nothing to set up in earlier acts. So when they get to act 3, they have nothing to do with it except sort of say, and he's back to playing basketball, guys. You go, Michael. Yeah. Thanks for being in our movie.
This entire movie was made for this whole purpose of like marketing and merchandise, because like the Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan like ads that came out before this were so widely successful. It's like, okay, let's just like print our own money right now with this movie. So it's like, we don't need to put an effort for this because people are going to see it regardless. And based on the sheer numbers of ticket sales and their overall worldwide gross that they made based on their budget, they definitely proved a point there.
Right. And this is why this movie like makes me angry.
Really? Yeah.
Oftentimes,
really, I didn't pick up on that at all.
Oh my god! So like,
what? You're as happy as a clam right now.
I don't hate bad movies. Okay, I like pity them, because oftentimes there are like great ideas in bad movies that just like weren't done correctly, and it makes you sad. Yeah. Or it could be a good movie that just didn't do very well at the box office, like Annihilation, and it makes you sad because you're like, this movie had great ideas. I wish it had done better. This movie had no good ideas, no effort put into it. And it it was literally made because they're like, well, we'll make money on it, so we should make it, and they did, and that's what makes me angry about it, is that it worked. 90s kids still think this movie is good. I thought this movie was good until I watched it again.
Oh my God.
So
deep breath.
So this, yeah, I know, deep breaths, calming,
Yeah.
Gotta get my namaste.
Yeah. Hum hum shivai, hum hum shivai, hum hum shivai. All right. Yeah. Next time we have you guest starring, we'll pick something a little less stressful for you.
No, this is great.
Please,
great.
dude, please join us for Food Fight, please.
I'm not even sure if I want to do that.
If you have me join you for Food Fight, it will just be 30 minutes of screaming. Nothing even coherent. I will just be screaming at the existential horror that is that movie. I haven't seen the full thing. I've seen reviews of it. I don't want to see the full thing because I don't think I'll be able to get through it unless you chain me down.
I watched the whole thing. My sister and I watched the whole thing. It is filled with sexual innuendos. There's almost 70 in this children's movie.
Yeah.
It is filled.
It is filled. That's what she said. But
oh my God, Kevin. Okay, so
I'm already prepared for it.
I think our lasting opinions. Well, my opinions on the movie are pretty clear. Kevin, give me your take on the movie as a whole.
As the movie as a whole, I still do kind of have a nostalgic soft spot for it, but I still do agree with you that this isn't the best movie of quality, but it does have its moments. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10.
Oh, we have a grading scale.
I mean, we're still figuring it out. Maybe, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sam, what do you think?
I think I agree with Kevin. It's definitely not a good movie, but I have seen far worse. So to me, it was just it had potential to be better, and they didn't bother to go through those lengths. So I give it, a 4 out of 10. I think that's an appropriate rating. What are you, a -40?
Yeah, like a 4 or a 4 or a 4.5. It just had so much potential, and it really didn't go anywhere.
That's what makes me upset about. I agree with you. There are certain bad movies where they're terrible, and you can a lot of bad movies. It'll be you kind of see the concept and what they were trying to go for. But there is plenty of bad movies I've seen where it's there is a really good idea here, and they didn't even bother. It could have been so much better, and they just didn't go that way. But this movie's different because I can only see I felt the concept. I feel all of it was just, it needed a stronger underlayer than just, I don't know how to, I'm trying to, it hasn't even been 24 hours, so the movie hasn't fully absorbed into me yet.
That's probably a good thing. It's probably carcinogenic.
Oh my God. Wow, okay.
All right, I don't need that visual.
What is your take on it, Aaron?
Well, I don't think I'm too far off from you guys, because I think my biggest thing is I don't think this movie had potential. I think that the starting point was flawed, and that the reason that a lot of these other issues come in is because that starting point was just not there, right? Tunes in the real world is kind of an engaging concept, and it can work really well. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It works really well in that movie. But so that isn't bad, but that wasn't the starting concept for this movie.
No.
The starting concept for this movie was Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan in a movie.
Yeah.
And they had to write everything else around that. And so
that's always
I would probably try and talk you down to a 3. I don't think it's just horrifically offensive just to watch. It's more of what's behind the movie that makes me really angry. So I don't think it's the worst movie ever to experience. I just disagree with the process behind it. So I'd probably give it a 3.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah. I can respect that.
I definitely, I agree. They was just Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny. Let's just work around that. Yeah. Okay,
cool.
So one more thing before we end this. While I was doing a little bit of just general research on this movie, I came across something that I haven't seen since I was a kid when I first saw this movie, and actually genuinely surprised that it's still up. The Space Jam website,
Oh my god.
spacejam.com, is still up and running. Go ahead and check it out right now. It's still there. You can download like JPEG background wallpapers. You get
Oh my god, it's
cast.
so 90s.
You get it is a callback. There's cast bios of everyone in the movie.
Planet B-Ball, Lunar Tunes.
It
Wow.
is. Yeah, no, for everyone listening, just look up spacejam.com. It is such a blast from the past. I'm probably going to be on here for a while after this.
All the writing is in unfiltered, like, Arial font.
I know. All right, so on that surprising note, I'm Kevin Tracy.
I'm Samantha Tomlinson.
Do I have a bit here? I'm Aaron Silva.
You have a name! You still have a name!
And this has been Movie Reel.